What's up, everybody? This your boy D Max. So let's talk about it. All right, y'all see the title. We're talking about fans attacking entertainers. This is something that's becoming commonplace now. We're seeing the violence spread from just between the rappers beefing with their ops, and now we're starting to see it transfer over into the crowd, into the fans, into the audience, the ones who come to enjoy the show. And so, where is all of this energy coming from? Well, there's many speculations. There's many people out here who have an idea where it comes from. It all stems from one place, and we're going to get to that eventually. But right now, we're just going to do a summary of a few people who have been attacked on stage. So, probably the most famous of recent is definitely Chris Rock being slapped by Will Smith. That's called now the slap heard around the world. And so, that was a pretty big one. We have Roddy Rich. He recently was in a altercation at one of his shows where a fan jumped up on the stage and he didn't know what that fan was going to do. So, his first instinct is to protect himself, which anybody should do. And we had that situation take place. So we had Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle was attacked by a fan. Well, I don't call these people fans because if you're jumping up here trying to do harm to somebody, obviously you're not a fan of theirs. So this guy jumped up there, tried to attack Dave, and got stomped pretty good for doing so. I don't condone violence, but if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And there's been so many others that have been attacked, so many others. And what it boils down to is that we have people in the audience who do not know how to control themselves. They work themselves up to a point of excitement to where now they have lost all rational thought and they work themselves into this frenzy. And this is what happens at concerts. Everybody's chanting whatever song is on their favorite song, and all of that energy from thousands of people, that does something. That shifts things in a different realm. If you don't understand that, then you need to really get in touch with your spiritual side, because whether it is dark spiritual activity or light spiritual activity, there's some activity in the energy of a whole bunch of people who come together in agreement about something. And so we had the Travis Scott situation to take place. Now, that's a situation that I kind of see how it fell back on Travis Scott now, because they came out with some footage of one of his previous shows, and it was showing that somebody in the crowd, I guess they was being disrespectful, throwing stuff on the stage or whatever. The issue that Travis Scott had with this one particular person, he spit on that person and then told people in the crowd to F him up, and so that type of energy, whenever you got people excited to that level of, I guess you can call it hysteria, then now they're out of control, and now they're just going based on their energy, and whatever subliminal message you put out there, they're going to react to that because they're just on that frequency based on the music that they're listening to right now. And I'm pretty sure that these guys are very tuned in to the frequencies of the music and the frequency that they're channeling through the music, because we had XXX Tentacion explain it very articulately on an interview that he did one time before, and he explained how they use the certain frequencies in the music, like the instruments and stuff like that, to stimulate certain chakra in people. And so that's why people find themselves getting worked up and being emotionally moved by the music like they do, and they wonder why they gotta listen to this song before they go and do some dirt. or they wonder why they listen to these songs whenever they heartbroken, stuff like that. It's because the frequency within that song is something that is definitely going to cater to whatever chakra you're working. And so when we're dealing with this type of situation, we have to look at the fans, man, and we have to see that, all right, going back to the Travis Scott thing, we're coming out of a pandemic. People were inside for a long time, not able to go to big venues like this and do these things for a while. And so I understand they had that pent up energy, but at the same time, people have to understand how to act in public. Come on, man. You don't have to trample anybody because you're so caught up in the music. If you are that caught up in the music, then you need to check yourself and learn how to disconnect from music that will have you so influenced to go and do stuff like that. And I understand. I've been there. I was a kid. I was influenced by the music of my generation, just like everybody else. So it's not like I'm pointing no fingers at nobody that's not pointing back at me. I understand what music does. And so I'm just saying that we have these people in the crowd now who feel like they have the right to come up there and put their hands on these people that's entertaining just because they pay some money to see them, or whatever psychosis they have going on within them to make them feel like it's all right to jump up on the stage and try to bring harm to these performers and entertainers and stuff. We need to check this. And so I'm asking, where did this energy come from? Where's all of this energy coming from? Well, if you look at the climate of hip hop right now, everything is about violence. Everything is about killing. Everything is about guns. Everything is about drugs. You know what I'm saying? Everything is about all of the things that are not going to be conducive to a quality climate. And so now, when you got people, all of these thousands of people in one place, and they doing all the drugs that the rappers talk about, Percocet, Molly, weed, coke, lean, everything else. So they're on all of this stuff because that's what the songs that they're going to listen to is about. This is what had them excited. And so now they on all of this stuff, and they get caught up in the hysteria of the music, of the environment, and that energy that's being channeled. And now they just going to go all out and do whatever. They've lost their minds. They are in a state of psychosis to where they are not able to rationalize what is civilized and what is not civilized behavior. And so what do we do about these people like this? Because it's happening more and more often. And like with Will Smith, that you can say that that's different, but no, it's the same thing, because at that time, Will was an audience member. Will was a fan out there in the audience, but he felt emboldened to come up there and put hands on that man. And all of this energy sends a message. It sends a message to everybody out here that if you don't agree with what's being said on stage, you can go up there and do something about it. That's the message that's being sent. And so when you have people out here who's sending this message to the world that it's okay to go up there and put your hands on somebody if you don't like what's going on the stage, instead of just walking out, then that's the wrong message to be sending, because music is one of the biggest influences of our time. One of the chief instruments of influence is music. That's why all of our advertisements have music behind it. That's why all of our TV shows, all the sitcoms and stuff, it has music to narrate it. Music is the vehicle that brings forth the message, and we receive it so well through music. And so when they're sending you this message through the music, And they're sending you these images of people jumping up on stage and putting their hands on these people. What's going to happen when them people start putting their hands back on them? Now they want to sue them for a whole bag. Now they're trying to chase a bag because they wanted to jump up there and put their hands on somebody without any consequences. That's like the dude who tried to run up on Mike Tyson on the airplane. He drunk, he out of his mind, he not thinking, he's goofy, he over there trying to impress his buddy, because you hear the buddy behind the daggone camera laughing at first. And then when Mike finally gets sick of this dude and he turn around and he give him what he want, hey, if the dude would have tried to sue him, I would not have been surprised. But at the same time, Mike still had to have that thought in the back of his mind that this dude, oh man, I done messed up. Now this dude's gonna sue me for all my money. Because that's what they do. This is the mindset of people out here in this world today. And they feel like if you have something that they can give, then they'll find a way to antagonize you and provoke you to the point to where you do something to them so that they can hold you liable in the court of law and take what you've earned and what you've worked for. This is this opportunistic culture that's starting to rise up. This is exactly what I'm going to label and what I'm going to refer to it for the rest of the time being. It's opportunistic culture that is trying to capitalize off of somebody else's hard work without doing anything other than being deceptive. So we have to watch out for these people. These people are in every single crowd. These people are out on the roadways. They're looking for an opportunity to slam on brakes so somebody can hit them in the back, because they know that if somebody get hit in the back, then more than likely the person who hit them in the back is going to be their fault, whether that person slammed on brakes or not. We have opportunists out here. There's an opportunistic culture that is being developed and is targeted at everybody who has money or influence, and they're trying to get them a quick living off of somebody else. And so what are we to do? What are the entertainers to do? What is their safeguard? Should they have extra? I think they should have like a something to where the audience cannot get up on the stage, more than just a couple of security guys up on the stage. No, they need some type of protective barrier that also guards from them throwing bottles and stuff like that, because Kid Cudi just walked off the stage the other day because people was throwing stuff on stage and he had to stop his show. And it was like, if somebody else throws something up here on the stage, I'm out. And somebody threw a water bottle at him. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like they should put up a protective barrier to where that stuff can't be thrown at these people. It'll hit those barriers and it'll stop people from being able to rush the stage and do something to these artists who are out here performing to give us some entertainment and give us a break away from our normal, everyday, mundane lives. And give us an opportunity to come out and enjoy some of the music that we like of theirs. And this is what these uncontrollable, irrational, mentally ill people do. They don't know how to control themselves in public. You see it all the time. Out here where I live at, we have clubs in the city, but they're constantly being under new management because somebody will take it over. They'll get it going for a few months. Somebody will shoot it up, kill somebody out in the parking lot or even inside. They have to shut down. And then probably maybe about a 6 months to a year later, somebody else will get that same spot, and it's the same cycle over and over and over. People do not know how to control themselves in a public setting, especially when they add alcohol and drugs to the mix. They don't. They just don't anymore. Used to be back in the day, the OGs knew, hey, if I see you up in the club and we got beef, I'm gonna catch you outside of the club. I'm gonna catch you somewhere away from other people because this is between us. We don't need to be catching up no civilians in our beef. But nowadays that ain't the case. They don't care. They killing civilians. They don't matter what. It's on site for everybody. Hey, how you doing, Cynthia? God bless you today. Blessings to see you. Blessings to just be here because there's a lot going on, and all of this violence that I'm talking about is constantly being fueled within all of our sites, all of these different channels, and that's what everybody gravitates to. You know, it's not like there's no other option for them, but this is what they choose to gravitate towards. And these media sites understand that this is what generates the streams that's going to generate more money. And so that's what they're going to saturate the system with. We understand that. We got that. But for the people who understand that, man, we have to be able to stand strong, man, stand fast, and don't break down and give in to that mess, because we see how it's spreading not only from artist to artist. It used to be, you know, this is the big thing. Whenever two artists beef with each other, so do their fan base. Their fan base is also beefing. And so it's not just two people beefing now. It's however many million fans this person got and however many million fans this person got. So all of those people, well, I ain't gonna say all, some of them are just, you know, fair weather fans, and then you have those real diehard fanatics who will do anything to prove their loyalty. We're just talking about that base right there. So let's say that's maybe 20,000 out of your something million fans. You got 20,000 on each side that's really diehard, that's really about that life. All of these people have this friction towards each other. And if they see each other anywhere and identify each other as who they are, it's going to be something on site. It can lead to gunplay because that's what all of the drill music is about. So this is where all of this is stemming from. This is where these attacks on these entertainers is coming from. People cannot separate real life from the music and the fabricated world of music and entertainment. They can't separate the two. They do not have the mental faculties to be able to do so. And these people are loose out in the world, and they're mixed in, mingled in with all of society, roaming around. And the first opportunity that they have to explode, they're going to explode. The first time they get put in a situation that they can't deal with, they're going to explode, and they're going to handle it in a very unhealthy way. And we have to be more mindful of the people that are around us. There should be no way that a person can travel from their home for however many miles to a school with guns, large guns, and not be noticed by anybody. Not be noticed by anybody. Nobody calling the cops to tell them they saw a kid with a bag of what looked like, none of that. I've heard many cases with these school shootings and mass shootings. I've never heard anybody be like, well, you know, we seen him and we called somebody because it looked strange, but nobody paid us any attention. I don't hear that. Nobody says anything about that. Whenever these guys go in and shoot up these schools and shoot up these markets and stuff like that, nobody in the parking lot saw them. Nobody anywhere that they were traveling. Nobody in a car beside them looked over and saw a whole bunch of guns in the back seat or anything in any of these cases. That's kind of hard for me to believe. So that just lets me know either people are so caught up in their own lives and in their own world that they're not paying attention to what's going on around them, or people just don't care. People just don't care to ask, hey, that ain't none of my business. I'm staying out of that. I don't know what that is. So, you know, and a lot of times that, hey, I'm staying out of it, this ain't none of my business, could be the difference between life and death. because mental illness is at an all-time high in our country. This is something that not only it was way before the pandemic came, this was an issue in the United States. And even more so now because of the fear and all of the uncertainty that our government is demonstrating by their just total lack of understanding in anything right now. Our country is so divided through the government, through social systems, in every way possible. Nobody has any stability in anything. And so everybody's fighting for a piece of stability in something. And all of that brings up fear. And so all of these attacks that are taking place, this would happen in any type of venue. It happens at football games, basketball games, any open venue where there's a large amount of people. There's guaranteed to be some type of physical altercation because of people not knowing how to conduct themselves in public anymore. No one's civilized anymore. No one has any respect anymore. Respect has gone out the window. And that's something that I'm trying to hold on to dearly. And I'm tested constantly on that. People constantly feel like they, just because you are always seeking a peaceful way to do something, they feel like they can step on you or try to dismiss you or walk over you. And when you let them know that that ain't the case, they seem to be taken aback, and some people will get offended whenever they find out that your kindness isn't weakness. Some people will respect the fact, and then they'll correct their behavior. And then you have some people who will just avoid, because now they feel like, oh, you're that angry person, that quiet, angry person, because there's always been this stigma that goes with quiet people. Oh, leave them quiet people alone. They the ones that'll hurt you. You don't know. But there's a scripture that says it's best to remain quiet and be thought a wise man than to open your mouth and be proven not to be a wise man. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but you get my drift. So I'm a quiet person because I observe things, and I'm really thoughtful on the things that I would say, and I listen to a whole entire conversation so I can give a fully informed um, thought. And so people misconstrue it for whatever, and simple polite correction on that, and we move forward. But there's no need for people to get angry, for people to get offended, but they do, because the scripture also told us that in these last days people would be so easily offended. And so I don't take it to heart anymore. Before I gained this understanding, I struggled a lot, and I still do struggle sometimes with the fact that people are going to be easily offended in these last days, because insecurity is a part of their mental illness. Insecurity is like one of the underlying sources of their mental instability. That's the word, mental instability. And so, man, I'm just saying we have to be more careful out here in public. And I hate to encourage walking in any type of fear, because that's what it sounds like. We're walking around, we're fearful of, but we do have to be aware. Being aware and being fearful are two different things. And I've discussed this before on how you have the spirit of fear, which God did not give us, and that's cowardice. That cowardly heart, that is the spirit of fear. But fear, in the sense of reverence, is a good thing that allows us to know what danger is, and allows us to know what to be in fear of, because it gives us a guide of where to go and where not to go, what to do and what not to do, things of that nature. So there's a difference. Understand those two differences. But we do have to walk around with a heightened level of awareness, because we do have these people who are plagued by violence and all of the bully culture that has been cultivated and nurtured in the United States. And so we're just living out the sum result of all of this stuff that's been building up all of these years, all of the violent pictures that's gotten progressively more and more disturbing and more violent and more psychologically enhanced. If you think about it, horror movies now are not chiefly about the gore and the gashing and all the blood. It's more of a psychological thing, making you feel like this is something that absolutely could happen to me at any time. That is the horror of it now. They went past the visual. They've gotten us locked in on the visual effect. We've seen all the blood and guts and gore with Jason, Michael Myers, and Freddy Krueger and all of them. But now they're hitting us with the psychological, like Jordan Peele's movies. They're not per se those slasher, jump out and scare you boo movies. They're psychological. Get Out, psychological. The other one, what is it? Us, psychological. The new one that he's coming out with, psychological. So the horror is no longer a visual effect. They've already given us that and desensitized us to that. Now they're working on the psychological. And so this is why we have to stay on top of this stuff. And this is why we have to keep speaking out and bringing attention to these things, and understand that when these entertainers are up there, if the venue don't put up barriers to protect these artists, and something happened to one of these artists on stage, like what happened to XX Tentacion, remember when that dude ran out on stage and knocked him out cold? Was that venue held responsible? I feel like they should be. Whoever the venue is, the security, they should have barriers up to just protect these artists, because people are showing time and time again that they do not know how to conduct themselves in public. They get out in public, they get caught up in the frenzy, they're on whatever they're on drug wise, and they cannot control themselves. They've lost all sense of rationale, and there need to be safeguards put in place for these entertainers, even the comedians. We see a lot of people jumping up on stage and attacking comedians as well. So it's all across the board. It's not just one genre that's dealing with this. It's all the way across the board. Every genre of entertainment that we're dealing with. And so I don't know, man. Let's just keep these people in prayer. And I know we say that the Hollywood and the entertainment industry is wicked. It really is. It absolutely 100% is. But those are still also people who can be redeemed. Everybody can be redeemed. That's the thing that we seem to lose sight of whenever we get into these discussions, because there's so much demonic activity that's taking place, but God still sees that person as his child. He still see that person as his child that can be redeemed at any given time. That's all they have to do is open their mouth. That's it. I never wanted to be famous either. I no, I take that back. When I was younger, because I was a member of a rap group and we had really got the ball rolling. I mean, we had our own record label, we had our own studio we had bought, had our LLC, everything. We was legit and we was doing numbers really. And what I was beginning to find out on the lower level of it, just starting to get my foot in the door, I was starting to see that I can't be me. I have to be what these people want me to be to the world in order for me to get my foot in the door. I got to portray this image. They like the fact that we can generate a buzz. They like the fact that we can influence this amount of people because they're looking for somebody who's already doing numbers. If you come in the door, hey, I've already sold this many albums just locally in my neighborhood. That's how Ludacris got on. He sold like 700,000 albums out of the trunk of his car before he got on. And that's what got his buzz out there because he was really hustling. And, we was on that level. But it, the more I began to see what I would have to give up to be accepted in that world, it became less appealing to me, especially when and mind you, we came out in 1999 going into 2000. So this is about the same time that Master P and No Limit and all that was coming out. And so everybody was on, and I was from the South. I was from North Carolina. So everybody in the South was on that No Limit, that gangster wave, and me and my boy wasn't about that. And so I'm like, if I have to imitate this person right here in order for me to be accepted in the music world, then I'm cool on that. I'm cool on that, and I'll graciously back out. So I did want to be in the industry. I did want the world to hear my music, but the whole fame and fortune part, they could have kept all that. Really, I don't, and even to this day, all of the music that I've made, it's never been made for me to try to get on in the music industry. It's just because music is in me. To the day that I die, I'll always be able to make a song. Always be able to write a song or just make one up in my head and hum one in my heart. Music is in me. It just is. And that's why I do it. It's always been my release, and it's always helped me. And a lot of these musicians started out with that heart, but they've been brought into an industry that makes them give up their true self in order to put on this mask and be this other person that they need the world to follow. And that's why they lose their identity, and that's why so many of them go through the identity crisis, and they do all of these different things to disfigure themselves or to change themselves, because they're going through an identity crisis, because they've taken on so many different images to try to portray to us and project to us to follow, that they lost who they was in the beginning. And so I can have sorrow for them for that. And so that's why I say, man, we got to pray for these entertainers, because they're still redeemable. No matter how deep they are in it, they're never too deep that God's hand can't reach down and grab them and pull them out. The same way he pulled us out of stuff, he can pull them out. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying, man. And, just watch out for people. When you're out here, I always tell my wife, please be mindful of just your surroundings. That don't mean you have to walk around scared, walking on eggshells, but just notice your surroundings. Notice something that's out of place, and just little things like that can be the difference between a bad situation. So and that's it. I put that message out to all my sisters. All my sisters, when y'all are out here, and especially if you're by yourself, if you can have a friend or somebody to go with you places, please do so. And it's nothing about you being scared or nothing about you being tough or anything like that. It's about your safety, because we have people out here who are really attacking our black women, our black daughters, our black mothers, and our black sons. They will not attack the men head on. Now, they'll jump us if they've got a whole crew of them to one of us, then they'll do that. But they're mainly attacking our women and our young boys. And so I say, when y'all be out in public, just know that, not everybody is cordial and not everybody is civil. Some people are only being held at bay by laws that they are afraid of, and time in jail that they are afraid of. Outside of that, then they would have no problems doing something to you. Just know that these people exist. This is a reality that I had to really grasp very quick whenever I deployed. Whenever I got over there and I realized that it didn't matter if my skin was dark or white, it didn't matter if I was big or small. If I wore that same uniform as all of those other guys, they wanted to kill me. It didn't matter about anything else. I had on that U.S. Army uniform and they wanted to kill me. They don't care about my personal life. They didn't care about nothing. And there was nothing stopping them from killing me other than opportunity. And so this is the same spirit that's in these people here in our country, these white nationalists, these mentally unstable people who feel like they're trying to protect some right that they have or some birthright in a nation that was stolen that they made up in their mind is theirs. So we have to understand that we're dealing with these type of people and they're out here, they're working regular jobs, they're living in society, and like I said, any opportunity that they get to create a or create an act of hate, they're going to take that opportunity. And so we just have to watch out for stuff like that. Be on your P's and Q's. Don't make it easy for them. My sisters, make sure that y'all watching out. If you can keep some mace or something in your purse, keep that. Especially the female artists like Cardi B, Nicki Minaj, uh, Young Mai, all of the female artists that are out here, and they are objects of desire to a lot of these men who are mentally unstable and have these perversion issues. And these young ladies need to have protection as well. I know they can afford bodyguards and stuff like that. But what about the girls who dress and look exactly like them, who are walking around here, who are the next best option for those mentally ill people, those stalkers who can't get to the real thing? Well, they see that girl who dresses and got her hair just like Cardi B and, wear the outfits and shaped and got the same complexion and build as Cardi B. Well, they're going to take it out on her because they can't get to Cardi B. Just different little scenarios that I be thinking about, man, because these things are real and it's not like it's a taboo conversation. This is something that is happening and it's becoming very commonplace. And so just cautionary tale for my sisters, man. I think I'm done here. I've pretty much said everything that I could say on this topic. Let's pray for these artists and let's pray for the mind of these yeah, that's the word, unstable people. This is your boy D-Mac, man. Y'all know what I say. Sticks and stones can break your bones, but the word can always heal you. I'm out.